Hey. It's the Combatcast, man. They call Dave and Chevarooney. Before we get started, let's check out this video.
Are you a fan of pro wrestling, comedy, and combat sports? Then we have the podcast for you because we cover that and much, much more.
Do you like to debate with your friends? Do we have the perfect segment for you? It's the 531, where we take any given subject, break it down to a top 5. From there, we debate it down to 3, and then into that number 1 spot.
If you want to get a hold of us, find us on our social medias. Search Working Fans Podcast on any major social media platform. And if you want to find the podcast, search for us on any major podcast platform, as well as YouTube.
Working Fans Podcast. We put in the work so you don't have to.
All right, babies. We are back and ready to go. Chevy, we're coming off the heels of UFC 271. I think we're going to talk about that today, the upcoming fight night. But what else we got coming up?
We have on February 26th, we're going to talk about UFC Fight Night. It's going to be Bobby Green now stepping in for Dariush versus Makhachev. We'll talk about that. On March 5th, we have UFC 272 Covington versus Masvidal. That's going to be a huge pay-per-view. I'm interested in what kind of numbers that's going to do. March 12th, we have UFC Fight Night Santos versus Akhlenev Magomed. His name's Magomed. And then March 19th, we have UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Espinal.
All right.
That one's going to be in London. Back, they're open again. So,
okay.
Going overseas, it'll be an early card.
I wonder if we'll get some boxing. Maybe Anthony Joshua will be headlining some cards.
I don't know if they're. I mean, this is at the O2 Arena, so
let's
open.
Before we go ahead, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about UFC 271. Before we talk about this main card, I'll just bring up a couple undercard fights and anything else you want to talk about. Andre Arlovski continues the Defy time. I mean, they're not like, he's not beating top-ranked guys, world beaters, but he's looking good and at this point does deserve a top fight, I think, with somebody. Casey O'Neill got the job done in Roxanne Modafferi's last fight. Roxanne went out scrappy, but Casey did what she was supposed to do. Other than that, Kyler Phillips got a triangle armbar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, anything else you want to talk about on this undercard here?
No.
So that's it. Fuck off. I mean, I guess that's about covers it. I know there's a hell of a fight somewhere in here too.
Yeah, there was a fight early on where they got blood all over the place. So unfortunately, I missed that one.
I think it was Douglas Silva Andrade picked up a win.
If we had Carne Asada on here, he would know all about that one.
He was in our DMs. He was telling us.
Yeah.
The main card, which maybe we'll do two birds in one stone. Let's take this one at a time because we're going to talk a little bit about this guy. Bobby Green defeats Nasrat Haqparast. I always seem to fuck this name up.
Sure. Haqparast.
Haqparast, yes.
Haqparast.
So Bobby Green looks impressive.
Very.
As our man Cran was saying, a lot of the shots he was getting he was really rolling off the shoulder. And I heard somebody comment that Bobby Green might be the most efficient fighter at making punchers kind of roll off his shoulder. Regardless, he looked good and he looked a lot quicker. And I thought this was a big win for him.
Yeah, defensively, he was amazing because Nasrat, he's a very good fighter. I think this was just a bit too much of a jump for him, but he really got outclassed by Bobby Green. Like you were saying, his defense is amazing. Also, his cardio, because not only is he, rolling, all that body movement to dodge those punches, but he's also talking shit the entire time, which doesn't leave a lot of time for breathing. So, shout out to Bobby Green. That was an impressive win. I thought that was, he knocked out Al in his last fight, but I think this was even more impressive than that. And he's not a young man either. He's in his, mid 30s. He looks like he's in his prime.
Yeah, and the Al thing, I think Al just didn't look like he wanted to fight that night too. So
that was definitely part of it.
Yeah, this guy looked game. So as we mentioned earlier too, when we brought this up, Islam Makhachev was supposed to fight Beneil Dariush. Dariush is injured. Main event. That was kind of being looked at as a number one contender fight, and the winner was going to go on to meet the upcoming Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje world title fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now Bobby Green, who John Anik was saying this guy deserves a fight night main event, and I thought, cool, we'll see him against a ranked guy. Well, I didn't know we were going to go this high, and now it's looking like a catchweight fight. So me and you were talking a little bit after this. Now, neither one of us think this is probably not going to be Bobby's fight. It's a short notice against a dominant wrestler. But I like to talk about the what if a little bit because, strange things happen in martial arts. And I'm just thinking if Bobby Green pulls this victory, especially if he gets a finish and knocks him out, like I feel like he's going to skip the line. And not skip the line to get a title shot, but he might jump into like a number one or number two guy, like in a main event. I think he's going to jump up in rankings, and he might end up fighting Dariush or something. I don't know. What do you think happens if Bobby can pull this off?
I mean, if he knocks out Makhachev, he is on a streak and a roll, and he is, getting on, and he is a great sell. So I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that he could get a title shot. I don't see that happening just because 155 is a log jam up there and there's so much talent. I don't know what's going on with Poirier. I kind of feel like Poirier's ascended to, a Diaz Connor level where he's only going to take big money fights or title fights kind of thing, or he'll just bounce. Right. But that might be a good one if he won. I don't think that'll happen, but
yeah, Bobby maybe owes Poirier one too. Poirier finished him a while back before Bobby went on that tear. Yeah, I guess too, what's interesting too is if you ask me, I don't think Bobby gets this done. I think it's a bad style matchup and the short notice. But if you ask me how Bobby wins this fight, if he wins, I think it's going to be a finish. Like, I think it's going to be something where he catches it. So I guess that's where I think that's the most interesting part, because I think that's also what's going to get people noticed here.
I agree with you, because I don't see him. He's not going to win on the ground. So it's possible he outclasses Makhachev on the feet, but Makhachev is an intelligent fighter, and if he starts to lose on the feet, he's just going to go for takedowns, and he's Dagestani out of Khabib's camp, so he's basically unstoppable when it comes to takedown. So I think that's probably what we're going to see. I think you'll see Islam. He has a bit of an ego when it comes to his striking, I think. He wants to prove that he can do it, which he can. So I think you'll see him strike with Bobby a little bit, and then the first time he gets touched or he starts missing too much, you're going to see him go for takedowns and smash.
I agree. Now, Randy Osgood in the comments, he's just any thoughts on Michael Bisping's commentary? I guess some people didn't like it. I didn't hear about it. I like Bisping. Okay. Any comments? I thought Bisping was good. I don't know. Did I miss something?
People are haters. So they were saying that he was too biased for Adesanya in that title fight, because a lot of people thought that Whitaker won that fight. I didn't see that. I thought it was close, but I thought Izzy definitely did enough to win.
Yeah.
But people were saying that he was biased, but they're haters. I mean, how much time did he get to, prepare for that for that card because, Joe was supposed to do that card.
Right.
And then, for whatever reason, he wasn't there. And Bisping, came in to save the day. And then MMA fans are going to grill him.
Yeah. If anybody, too, I just can't see Bisping being biased against Robert Whitaker, too.
Right.
I don't see that happening.
I think Bisping at this point is my favorite commentator. I said this when we were watching the fights too. I think, Anik is the best play-by-play guy. And as far as color guys go, I like Bisping and Felder together, more than I like Rogan and DC. Just because I think for me, it's obviously a personal preference, but for me, I like the balance between the professionalism, the Dominic Cruz-esque professionalism, and the DC, laughing and jokingness.
Right.
It gets to be a little bit too much for me. I would like to focus on the fights, but
Right. He provides.
I
that
love them
balance.
all, but I think that's the best balance.
Yeah, I agree. Bisping does the best balance of color while still providing, some of the technical aspects of the fights. Whereas
Exactly.
DC tends to go a little too into the color commentary, with his humor and personality. There's nothing wrong with that, but in terms of preference, right? And then you got Cruz, who seems to be basically just all about the breakdown.
Right, X's and O's. Yep.
Right. Whereas Bisping kind of walks that line. Next fight we had was Hanato Makano. Try that one.
Oh, yes.
He got the victory with a rear naked choke over Alex Hernandez. Impressive performance. I thought he looked really good here and he's been looking really good at lightweight. Maybe if Bobby Green loses, this could be a fight. He ends up taking both very quick. Hanato seems to be more. I kind of like him in that fight just because of his submission game.
Yeah, that might be a good one. I think Bobby will get a higher ranked opponent than Moicano after this, whether he wins or loses, just because he's doing the UFC a favor at this point, saving this card. I don't think Moicano is ranked high enough to get that fight, but I think it would be a good fight.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Any thoughts on what might be next for him then?
For Moicano, is he ranked yet, or is he out of the top 15?
I'm looking right now. Because like you said before, too, this weight class.
So stacked, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. Because, you got Poirier here, you got Gaethje.
Right, he's not getting any of those guys.
No, he's not.
What's like, the 10 through 5 guys?
So
somewhere in there.
He's not getting number either. Okay, actually, maybe he'll get one of it. There's 2 guys ranked number 9. We don't have a 10 guy. One of them is Conor McGregor.
Okay.
The other one is Gregor Gillespie.
Okay.
After that, we got Rafael Fiziev, Armin Shakinkan. I do not know his name. Just 2 of them I don't know. And then there's Brad Riddell and Diego Fiera.
Oh, you might see a Brad Riddell or a Fiera.
Yeah,
I could see a Gillespie too.
Yeah, Fiera definitely. Number 8 was Dan Hooker. That might be a little bit out of his reach.
Right, he might be going back down to featherweight though, right?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
You're staying at featherweight. I don't know. We don't know what's going on with him.
Middleweight, Jared Cannonier versus Derrick Brunson. I thought Cannonier would pull. We disagreed on this one a bit, but I thought Jared would get the victory. And it's funny though because I say that, but Brunson looked fucking amazing when this thing started. He was doing what he did to everybody. He was shutting them down. He was putting up against the fence like you said he would. He was doing this right, and then Cannonier just comes out and just hits him like around with a big shot.
That's all it takes.
Starts to put it on him, and he gets it done. Did Derrick maybe just empty the gas tank a little too much here? And for Jared Cannonier, is he next in line?
Yeah, I think that was a contributing factor for sure. Was he had gotten a little bit tired because his movement early on was good, and then he had slowed down a little bit, and you can't get caught by Cannonier because that's what happens. Also, I don't remember who the ref was in that fight, but they definitely didn't stop it fast enough. Brunson took a few elbows where his head was bouncing off the canvas that were unwarranted. I thought, he got. I mean, I believe his team actually threw the towel in as the fight was being stopped. So, MMA teams never stop fights. So if they're throwing in the towel, the ref is taking too long to stop the fight. So,
yeah.
Brunson said he's got one more and then he's done. So I'm not sure what that fight's going to be for him. Hopefully they give him a favorable matchup. His last little run was good. I think it's a good time for him to probably hang it up. Cannonier, I think he's probably going to get the title shot against Izzy. Called for it. Dana gave him the thumbs up, which means absolutely nothing. But I think Adesanya wants that fight, and that's what really matters.
Yeah, if he's done, I mean, maybe a Jack or Manson or somebody coming off a loss as well.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a good one for Brunson. I do think Jared will get that fight because I don't think there's any other real options here. Sean Strickland is hanging out at number 5. Brunson is 4. Marvin Vettori is 3. Whitaker at 1. So when you look at Adesanya's kind of beating everybody here, but Cannonier and Strickland in that top 5, and Jared outranking him coming off the professional performance, I feel like you have to go with that right now. Right. But man, that makes me think Sean Strickland's kind of hanging out there a little bit too.
Yeah, you could see a Strickland. Maybe a Brunson Strickland. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what they're going to do?
I wouldn't want to make that fight, though, if Brunson's potentially getting out. Then you just take out one of your contenders, too.
Yeah. Maybe a Brunson versus Darren Till when Darren Till comes back.
Yep.
I don't know if he has a fight lined up, but
I think Brunson actually beat Till in one of his last performances.
Did he? His recent run.
So so when he was smashing people, Brunson, that was one of them was Till. So yeah, probably wouldn't be Darren, but maybe Marvin Vettori.
Yeah.
Marvin probably got to work his way back up. He'll probably
got to do something. Yeah. Someone
so.
Has to a definition. Someone has to have a definitive win to make a claim for the next title shot after Cannonier.
Absolutely. Heavyweights, man. Tai Tuivasa, Derrick Lewis. We were pulling for Tai, not because we love some Derrick Lewis, but we thought, man, it'd be nice to see Tai potentially maybe slip into a heavyweight championship competition. And boy, he did just that. And he took some shots in the beginning, had some good clinch work. And then, those right hands, a big elbow. I was impressed with this performance.
Yeah, it got me, that got me out of my chair up screaming. That was I thought for sure he was done when he was bent over with his head next to the cage and Derrick was just uppercutting him over and over. I mean, for him to take those shots and not go out is amazing because we've never seen anyone take shots like that from Derrick Lewis. He's just such a likable guy, Tai. Yeah. He's the most charismatic heavyweight we have for sure. I'd love to see him go on. I don't know if he has all the technical skills, to be a heavyweight champion, to beat a Francis or a Cyril Gane. I think he's going to get an opportunity at one of them sooner rather than later. Yeah. So I think he has the toughness and the willingness to swing and bang, as he says. I just want to see what his next walkout song is going to be.
Yeah. And number 3 and the 2 guys ahead of him are Cyril Gane and Stipe Miocic. God, if Francis is gone, wouldn't it be something? Stipe and Tai for the vacant heavyweight title. It is a possibility.
Yeah. I think that one would be a tough matchup for Tai just because of the technical ability.
I agree completely, but I will say this. When you're looking at these guys with Cyril Gane and everything like that too, Stipe, because of the long layoff and having been hit, coming off that knockout,
and he's older.
This might be the one you want. Yeah, because you're not getting any gimmies at this point. And right behind you was Curtis Blades, who will love the ragdoll.
But you don't want that one either.
Yeah. So so I don't know. Stipe, bigger name, and with the time off, might be the guy you might lean towards there. But either way, he's probably going to be the underdog, and it's an uphill battle. But congrats in the meantime, and man, I'm enjoying this ride right now with Tai Tuivasa.
For sure.
And then we had the main event, Stylebender versus Whitaker. Technical fight. I think we were right. I think Whitaker did end up using his wrestling a little more, made it more competitive. But I think in the early on in round one, Stylebender hurt that leg a little bit. And I think that was the difference really in the fight. I don't think Whitaker was able to execute his game plan as much as he would have liked to. I think I even heard his coach say one of the things they thought he would have gone for broke a little bit more.
I thought he was a little conservative. But if he thought he was winning the fight, that makes sense. Why? If his team thought he needed to go for broke more, I didn't hear them saying that in the corner, in between rounds. He did use his wrestling a little bit more, but he wasn't really able to hold Stylebender down and do any damage whenever he did take him down. I mean, he took him down in the middle of the cage. Stylebender got up and Whitaker got on his back and was, close to locking in a rear naked choke, but ended up getting scraped off. I think that was more a show of Stylebender's defensive grappling than it was of Whitaker's, wrestling.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, what do you think? Before we get to this week's card, what about the potential matchup of Stylebender and Jared Cannonier? I think at the end of the day, Stylebender's just going to be the favorite over anybody. Do you think Jared Cannonier presents any problems? I feel like the thing with Jared Cannonier is he's got some big shots, but Stylebender is such a world-class striker. And I don't know. I don't like the matchup, actually, for Jared Cannonier. I think Stylebender's I think he's got him stylistically almost every area.
Right. Cannonier's never faced anyone like Adesanya, but Adesanya has seen 100 Cannoniers, Yeah. He is very good, but he's a power puncher. Adesanya's been fighting those for, 12 years or however long he's been a kickboxer or whatever. Yeah. So he needs to avoid the big shot, which he is willing to put on boring fights, he says. And he's the best at range, I feel like. He's the most technical. Now, if he gets in some of those exchanges that he got with Whitaker, where he let Whitaker come in and then, they were in the phone booth and they're swinging at each other. If he gets hit by one of Cannonier's in that range, he'll be in trouble. But I think he'll just do a much better job at keeping him away. Doesn't really have to worry about the takedowns.
I agree. Randy asking us, will we be at the Bellator fights this weekend? Not that I know of. I don't think we have any plans for that right now. And unless somebody surprises us with some tickets or something and we're readily available. But I would say not looking good at this point. We're more Friday shows too. I know Bellator always does Friday shows. That tends to work a little better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, what about this UFC card this weekend? I'll let you lead the way. You did a little research. Tell me about some of the fights you're looking forward to.
So I looked at the prelim fights and I didn't see anything that was particularly exciting. Jessica Rose Clark is fighting. That was the only thing that kind of stood out to me. But the main card looks pretty good. Starts off with Joaquin Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. So Buckley is the guy who had that 2020 spinning back kick knockout. Yeah. He's gone 2-1 since then. And Al-Hassan has gone 1-3 in his last 4, but he has knocked out Nico Price. So it could be a good fight, but I would go with Buckley on that one personally.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at Buckley, he's had like 3 performances of the nights too. This guy loves to be exciting. So I think if you're the UFC, you want to keep this Buckley guy going, and he has that flair for excitement they like, and he's the kind of guy you want on these cards. So yeah, I'll pick Buckley as well, and hopefully he gets it done.
Yeah, hopefully by, like you said, by a finish, an exciting finish.
Yes.
And then we got Jim Miller, the legend, versus Nicholas Mata. So we all know Jim Miller. He's 2-3 in his last 5, but his losses have all been decisions. He hasn't been getting finished. He's almost 40. He's 39. He might be 40. I don't know. But Mata is 12-3. But I believe this is his first fight in the UFC. He just got signed from the Contender Series.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Jim Miller via decision because I don't think this guy's fought any UFC caliber fighters, obviously. And Jim Miller is a legend. And even though he is an old man at this point, he still can get it done. I think he's going to show this young guy what's up in the UFC.
Yeah, I'm looking at him now. He's got a 3-fight win streak going into this, but he has not had that big fight competition. I think you're right. Miller gets it done. I think decision is the way to go because at the end of the day, Miller just has that UFC experience. And I think unless this guy surprises us, Miller is he's just got that experience.
Right. I'm not sure what Nicholas's gas tank is like, but if he gets tired, I bet you he gets choked out or submitted by Jim Miller also. So
yeah,
that could also happen. But next fight, we have Parker Porter versus Alan Baudel. So Porter, he fights out of Hartford, Connecticut. So we all like him.
Yeah.
It's a heavyweight fight. So Parker's 11-6. He's been 2-1 since he got to the UFC, but his one loss is to Chris Dawkis. So that's not really a knock at heavyweight, especially to lose to someone like Dawkis. He was knocking everyone out before he got stopped by Black Beast. So Baudel, he's 8-2. He's 0-1 in the UFC. He has a KO loss to Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
But he also has a no contest. He got knocked out in that fight too, but then his opponent popped for steroids afterwards. So really, he's been knocked out in his 2 UFC fights so far. So
okay,
I'm gonna go with Parker Porter via TKO, probably second round.
Yeah, heavyweights, right? So and this guy's been finished twice. Yeah, all right, that sounds good to me. Not just to agree with you, but yeah, Parker Porter gets it done. TKO. I guess round 2. I'll go.
Mm-hmm. And next, we're going to have Kyle Dawkis, younger brother to Chris Dawkis. He's fighting Jamie Pickett. So Kyle Dawkis, he's a submission wizard. Unlike his brother, who's the knockout artist, he's the jiu-jitsu guy. So he's 10-2, but he hasn't gotten the warmest welcome to the UFC. He has losses to Brendan Allen and Phil Dawes, which are both really tough guys.
Yeah.
But his last fight ended in a no contest. It was that accidental head collision of heads, whatever they're calling it now, with Kevin Holland.
A fight he was looking like he was going to win, but it was the clash of heads.
Yeah, he was looking good, but it was an accidental clash of heads, so it ended up being a no contest. Pickett, he's gone 2-2 since he got signed from the Contender Series. He lost his first shot on the Contender Series to Punahele Soriano.
Yeah.
So he won his second attempt on the series, and he's gone 2-2 since. I'm going to go with Kyle Dawkis. I think he gets it done in a submission. I think this is the best you're going to see of him so far. I'm going to say early too, before they start getting too sweaty. I'm going to say round 1 submission.
Okay, I'm going to agree with you because I think his back's against the wall here. I think he didn't get the job done the last time, and he was close to it. And Pickett he is on a 2-fight win streak, and I don't know if he desperately needs to win as much as Kyle does. Mm-hmm. And I do think Kyle is a quality fighter. So yeah, I'll go with Kyle. And looking at how he was looking in that fight with Kevin Holland, yeah, I'll say he gets it done. I'll say I'll go round 1. You got me. I'm agreeing with everything you're saying so far, buddy.
All right. So then our new main event is going to be Johnny Walker versus Jamal Hill. So Walker has been 1-3 in his last 4. He did the worm and blew out his shoulder, and that basically has ruined him. He's still a fun guy to watch, but he's not the world beater that he was looking like before. Also, I think he's just gotten a bit of a step up in competition.
Right.
So Hill is 9-1 total, and he's 2-1 in his last 3 in the UFC. He's beaten OSP and Jimmy Crute, so those are 2 very tough guys. And his one loss was to Paul Craig, and they talked a bunch of shit to each other beforehand. They were getting in each other's faces at the weigh-ins, as Craig does with everyone, with his, Braveheart war paint on. But Craig broke his arm in a submission, and Hill didn't tap and ended up, his arm was flopping in the triangle, and he ended up just getting TKO'd. I don't know why the ref didn't stop it, but I remember watching his arm bounce when we were watching the fight, and it was super gross. But he's a tough guy, and he's knocked out Jimmy Crute since then. I think that you're going to see Jamal Hill's going to put on a show, and he's going to catch Johnny Walker with something. I won't say first round because Johnny's explosive, and he has been playing a little bit safer and not just going for broke so early on. So I think I'm going to say third round, you're going to see Walker get tired and Hill's going to TKO him.
Okay. Let's think about Walker. He was lighting people up his first few fights. I think everybody was like under a minute or maybe a minute. And then he ran into Corey Anderson, and Corey Anderson stopped him with a bad knockout. Mm-hmm. And then Nikita Crawford him a decision. But here's the thing. He lost his last fight, Thiago Santos. He won one in between there with Ryan Spann. But if you watch that fight, I'm pretty sure Spann was whooping his ass and knocking him around. Almost beat him. Right. And then Walker came back and caught him and got the win. So good on him. But, even that one win was super, he almost lost.
It wasn't the best performance, yeah.
Yeah. So I like Jamal Hill here as well. I've been sticking around with round 2 performances all day on this card. So I'll say, TKO round 2. Walker gasses out by then, probably after trying a bunch of crazy shit in round 1. And Jamal Hill gets it done. And that'll be it, for this card. After that, it'll be Makhachev and Green the following week. So we'll see how that all plays out with our what-if scenarios.
That's right.
But, I don't know. Should be a fun card this weekend. I think that main event, this card took definitely a hefty beating. It's interesting. I was just looking at, after Makhachev Green is Covington, Masvidal. It's a great card, and I'm excited with the fights. But, man, it's going to be probably April until we see a UFC title actually defended, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't do them basically on fight nights. It needs to be a pay-per-view for it to be a title fight. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
April 9th, yeah. And then we'll get 2 title shots, Sterling and Jan and Volkanovski and Korean Zombie now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, looking forward to this weekend. Last weekend, though, was, I thought, a great night of fights. Very entertaining. And, we'll keep an eye out and probably get some interviews for you guys soon, too. We're talking about in the next few weeks. And as always, it's anything you want to add?
I'll just give the schedule again.
Yes.
So on the 26th, we have fight night. We talked about Bobby Green versus Makhachev now. March 5th, UFC 272 Covington versus Masvidal. Then March 12th, UFC Fight Night Santos versus Akhlenev. Magomed versus Magomed. March 19th, UFC Volkov. UFC Fight Night Volkov versus Espinal.
Magomed on Magomed violence.
Yeah, right.
All right, folks, that's going to be it. We appreciate all the love and support, and we'll keep this Combatcast rolling until next time. See you at the fights. Thanks for joining in, guys.